Many thanks for staying with us. Let's now tell you that the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, once more has ruled out the need for mercenaries to support the armed forces of Nigeria in fighting terrorists and criminal groups in the country. Musa, who stated this in Abuja, also revealed that the Nigerian Army has started assembling its own armored personnel carriers. He noted that the military was rising or is rising to the occasion, stressing that though the nation's armed forces are trained in conventional war, they have adjusted to the asymmetric nature of insurgency tactics. He stressed the need for the federal government to provide modern and sophisticated weapons and military hardware to the armed forces of Nigeria in order to win the war against terrorism and other emerging security threats confronting the nation. And now to discuss this, we're joined by security analyst Fidelis Ogbobe. Thank you so much, Mr. Ogbobe, for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege.
So would it be retrogressive for the Nigerian government to contract mercenaries to assist the Nigerian military in dealing with insurgency in the country?
The deployment of mercenaries in warfare has been of a long-age procedure all over the world. But at the stage we are now in fighting our terrorism, I don't think that that's the best option Nigeria can actually execute. Because we find out that international law also did not give that absolute approval, even though we can say that there are no absolute prohibition of the deployment of mercenaries in the urban and conventional warfare as we have it today. Because you look at the International Convention on the use and the training of mercenaries it has to do with warfare. It defines a mercenary as an individual who participates in the issue of warfare, but it's not and the purpose that drive the mercenaries they are for private gains. So for that reason, it becomes very, very, not acceptable at this point in time in Nigeria for us to begin to employ these private mercenaries because they don't have the loyalties of the country. They are not protected under international humanitarian law. For example, a mercenary cannot be regarded as a combatant or given the privileges of a combatant. He does not also enjoy the privileges of prisoners of war. So the stage we are now in fighting the terrorism, I believe that there is a need for us to empower me to give them the necessary assistance they require so that they can actually drive this forward to logical conclusion.
But then in Sierra Leone, 2002, Central African Republic in 2013, Mozambique in 2021, these countries contracted private security companies to help in dealing with insurgency in their countries, and they succeeded without negative repercussions. So why would you say that that should not be an alternative?
We cannot say that they succeeded without repercussion because the mercenary does not actually go to the issue of the root causes of terrorism or insurgency anywhere in the world. Because you look at our national counter-terrorism strategy of 2016, in 2014 that was revised in 2016, as well as the policy framework and national plan of action for countering and preventing of terrorism and extreme violence in Nigeria, it not actually create such opportunity for us to deploy mercenaries. Because you look at the issue of terrorism or combating terrorism is not all about the use of military power. There are other soft powers which America can call today the human security or the soft power. The combination of the soft power and the military power in combating terrorism and violent terrorism anywhere in the world. So the mercenaries can only go after the terrorism by the use of that hard power, but it does not actually go down to the root causes of this violence act. I believe that in Nigeria there is other human security component, issue of education that can actually enable our community develop that resilience to fight terrorism. If you look at that, the policy framework for combating violent and preventing violent extremism in Nigeria, number one objective of that document is to ensure that there is institutionalization as well as mainstream coordination of preventing and countering violent extremism, enabling the communities and individuals to develop capacities and resilience against these negative trends and not make the members of community easy recruitment for terrorism. Education is also another part of instrument in use we can deploy in counter-terrorism operations. We have issue of political security, economic security, food security, the human security component. So the mercenaries are not well equipped to deploy this human security component in fighting terrorism. They only concentrated on the issue of the hard power, and that hard power does not in any way go a long way in ensuring that we defeat the violent extremism. Because all these countries we have just mentioned, you still know that there are still pockets of violence within that environment because they only concentrate on the issue of the hard power without looking at the soft power component in counter-terrorism operation.
Okay, well, the Chief Defense Staff also, talked about the need for the provision of sophisticated weapons to deal with terrorism in the country. But of course, you would agree with me that billions of naira were voted for the Nigerian army by the past and the current administration for this cause. What is the situation, or what are the challenges when it comes to funds and the procurement of the kind of ammunition needed to deal with insecurity? Is it that it's inadequate, or what?
Looking at even Section 14, Sub 2 of 1999 Constitution made it very clear that the primary purpose of government is the security and the welfare of the people and ensuring popular participation of people in the governance. There are no amount of money you can actually deploy in our security for us to say that that amount of money is enough for us to actually say that we are giving the military enough. I believe that the one that has been given to military, you can see that there's enough of improvement in terms of counter-terrorism operation, especially in the northeast, if not this recent issue that we're having in northwestern part of Nigeria. I believe that as we continue to develop the capacity of our military, as well as other components that enables us to fight this issue of insurgency, I believe that military can as well do more. Because the deployment of this machinery to a very large extent will kill the morals of our military, because there are private contractors, which is the driving force in their loyalty is issue of gain and profit. And they always have this contract in the way that they benefit more, are being paid more of the equivalent right within the ranks of the military. And I also believe that there's a need for civilian relationship and look beyond the acquisition of Tokalo jets and other hardware. Let us also look at the soft power component of counter-terrorism operation and in preventing violent extremism within the ranks within Nigeria and other components. So it's not only about the issue of deployment of the military. I believe that the military can also look at the other components. Even the National Counter-Terrorism Strategy of 2016 made Nigerian Police Force as the lead agency. The question is, where is the Nigerian Police Force today in this counter-terrorism operation and other civilian relationship to ensure that we can actually defeat this issue of terrorism? And I believe that as we continue to develop the capacity of our military, we continue to increase more funding for the military. The military has the capacity to ensure that we build their morale and they will drive this issue of counter-terrorism to its logical conclusion and give us the peace that we desire in this country.
Okay, so you talked about developments of the capacity of the military. Now that there is the local assembling of armored personnel carrier, do you think that things will change and improve?
I believe that if Nigeria can actually begin to look inward to see how we can actually source our capacity within the country, within the ranks of this military, the military, their morale, they will have a moral boost to ensure that they defeat this issue of terrorism. And the issue of this capacity is the result of development of this capacity that have given the military this opportunity to ensure that they can actually, manufacture their own armored carrier and other technology that were required in this counter-terrorism operation. I believe that as we continue to enhance the capacity of this military, not only in terms of hardware, continue to maintain, and also give them the capacity in terms of their civil relationship, so that the members of the community can actually develop the resilience, support our military in this war against terrorism. And in the issue of the human security component, let us also gauge the community-based organization into the counter-terrorism operation, begin to develop the civilian relationship between the communities and our military, and I believe that Nigerian military has the capacity and the ability to ensure that we defeat the insurgency in this country. Okay,
so finally, before I let you go, earlier on you talked about non-kinetic approach to dealing with insurgency in Nigeria, but Nigerians have questioned overly that why would insurgents or terrorists be pardoned and not made to face the full wrath of the law? Is it because they surrender?
And you know that in counter-terrorism operation, there is other components. The issue of the radicalization approach we have taken. The radicalization process in terms of forgiving to a very large extent will also make some of these terrorists to surrender their arms and come back to the society. And if they are given the requisite training and enough education that can actually give the counter-narrative to what the terrorist is giving to them, I believe that they become more useful to be part of the society. And we have to go back to the society and begin to fight the root causes of this insurgency in the first place. That's why I'm talking about the non-kinetic approach, the human security component within our community, so that they cannot no longer become easily recruitable by these insurgents and terrorist organizations, and they become more useful to the members of the society. So finally, to conclude on this, it is better that we begin to deploy the non-kinetic approach to begin to develop the community resilience to ensure that our people are aware, more informed, economic power is being given to them so that they can easily participate within the confines of security administration in this country. Because the policy framework and national action plan for the preventing and countering violent extremism of 2017 actually made it in a way that the terrorism or counter-terrorism operation of preventing violent extremism is part of the state as well as the local environment. I don't think that we're actually doing much within the local space to ensure that our communities are being carried along in the preventing and countering insurgency in this country.
Okay, thank you so much, Fidelis Ogbobe, security analyst, for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here today.